Your computer probably contains a ton of sensitive information about you, your job, and maybe even your finances. Before you sell or dispose of your computer, you absolutely must make sure you destroy any data on it. Deleting your files is not enough, and neither is formatting your hard drive. I'm going to show you how easily those deleted files can be recovered and how to make sure they are destroyed properly. Welcome back to the Pro Tech Show. If you don't want to know how deleted files can be recovered, and you already know what type of drive you have, then feel free to use the video chapters below to skip ahead. But make sure you use the right process, because a lot of the information you'll find on the internet only works on mechanical drives, and is frankly dangerous to use with a solid-state drive. Stay with me and I'll cover the lot. You might well think that when you delete a file, it's gone. Not really. In fact, when you delete a file, usually even if you empty the recycle bin, it's left 100% intact. That sounds mad, but it's actually the fastest and most efficient thing to do because of the way your files get stored. Your computer probably has hundreds of thousands of individual files on it. If it needed to search through all of them on your hard drive every time it needed a file, it would take ages. Think about how you'd find a specific item in a catalogue. You wouldn't start leafing through hundreds of pages to find a specific pipe fitting. You go to the index first to find out what page the pipe fittings were on. Your computer does the same kind of thing, looking up the location of your files in an index of sorts. For the NTFS file system, that index is the master file table. When you delete a file, rather than taking the time to erase all of the pages of data in your catalogue, it simply deletes the index entry, so the computer sees those catalogue pages as available to be overwritten. Your computer only bothers to check the index, so this makes it look like the file is gone. But until another file comes along and is written onto the same space in your hard drive that the old one was on, the original data is all still there. There are loads of tools that can scan your computer for the remains of these deleted files and bring them back if they haven't been overwritten yet. Here's an example using the free Windows file recovery utility from Microsoft. Full disclosure, I have created a bit of an ideal world scenario for this. I've got a virtual machine with an empty 4GB disk that I'm not using for anything else other than this demo. Your mileage in the real world will vary depending on how active the system is and how recently you deleted the file. It will also likely take longer because your hard drive is probably bigger than 4GB. Watching me scan a large drive will make for a very boring video though, and I don't want to accidentally recover something sensitive for all to see on YouTube, so yeah, it's a cherry-picked scenario, but it will serve to illustrate a point. Let's create a couple of simple text files. I'll call them PTS files 1 and 2 because I'm creative like that. And I'll put some really important information in them. Now I'm going to delete them. The first I'm going to delete normally and then empty the recycle bin. The second I'm going to shift delete to perform a permanent deletion. Right, they're both gone, bin empty. Now to recover them. The Windows File Recovery tool is a command line tool. There are quite a lot of third-party tools with friendlier interfaces as well. WinFR, D to recover from the D drive, and in the path I want to recover to. You should always recover to a different drive than the one you're recovering from if possible. Otherwise the act of recovering the files could actually destroy them by overwriting the space they occupy that the computer considers blank or ready to be overwritten. That looks good, so yes. Good, it's found something, so let's take a look. We can see PTS file 2 has been recovered, complete with its contents. You've got this weird folder for the recycle bin as well though. That's because the Windows File Recovery tool has recreated the original folder path. PTS file 2 was in the root of the D drive when I deleted it. PTS file 1 was first moved to the recycle bin, which exists in a special hidden folder on the root of the drive with a name like this. If I click through, you can see two files. Files deleted from the recycle bin appear like this, presumably because the recycle bin is storing the original path to the file in case you decide to restore it rather than delete it. If I open the first file here, you can see it's storing the original path to the deleted file before I moved it to the recycle bin. If I open the second one, yep, there are the contents of PTS file 1. If you're selling your computer, you don't want the new owner to be able to do this and access your files. If you're disposing of it, the same goes for anyone who picks it out of a bin at the recycling point. To make sure that doesn't happen, you have two options: a secure wipe or physical destruction of your drive. The main difference is that if you physically destroy the drive, nobody's going to be able to use it again in the future, which wouldn't be appropriate if you're planning to sell it on. Before you do either of these things though, you need to identify what type of drive you have. Hard drives fall into one of two categories: mechanical drives and solid-state drives. They store data in completely different ways, so if you're planning to wipe or destroy them, you need to use the right process for the type of drive you have. There are also hybrid drives, which are mechanical drives with a bit of solid-state bolted on to speed it up. For the purpose of this video, you can consider a hybrid drive to be a mechanical drive. If you don't know what type of drive you have, the best way to find out is to look up its model number. That aside, you can usually tell just by looking at it. If it looks like a stick of circuit board with some chip soldered to it, then it's solid state. If it's a 4-inch wide metal box like this, then it's almost certainly mechanical. We call it a 3.5-inch drive because history. 3.5-inch solid state drives do exist, but if you've got one, then I suspect you also know what you've got. In between, you have 2.5-inch drives, which are like scaled down versions of the previous one. You will commonly find both solid state and mechanical drives in this form factor, so if you can't tell by looking at it, Googling the model number is your safe option. We're going to talk about how you can destroy your data next, but if you're finding this useful, then hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Now you know what type of drive you have, how do you destroy the data? Let's start with the mechanical type first. This stores data magnetically on the surface of circular platters that spin at high speed. If you've ever wondered why a metal box is called a hard disk, well, there's your disk right there. A little arm scoots out and positions a read-write head over the disk to catch the data as it flies past. To physically destroy the data, we need to destroy these platters, or at least the surface of them. Now, important warning here, never ever open a hard drive like this unless you intend to destroy it. The tolerances in here are so small that if a speck of dust gets caught between the write head and the platter, that could be enough to cause a head crash and shred your data. Never attempt a physical DIY recovery if you care about the data. It's a job for a professional with the right tools and a clean room. If you try to DIY it, you're likely to end up increasing the cost of recovery and the likelihood of total loss. I don't want to get hit in the eye by a flying shard of broken platter though, so safety first. Okay, the hammer was for dramatic effect, but seriously some of those platters will shatter, so what's the eyes? This one clearly didn't, I'll finish with that one later. But the point is, no one's going to get any data off that, not without a huge amount of expense anyway. It's not impossible that someone with the right amount of funding and expertise and time could get something off this, but it's pretty impractical. Unless you're storing national secrets on it, this will do the job. And if you are storing national secrets on it, then someone else will be taking care of destruction for you to a defined specification. Some people will drill through their drives instead of smashing them. If you do that, make absolutely sure you're drilling through the platters. If your drive misses the platter, the data can still be recovered. Now, let's say you want to sell the computer on with a working hard drive. A lot of folk won't have the knowledge to install a new drive and put Windows on it, so this is the only type of second-hand computer they'll want to buy. You can use a free tool called dban to securely erase a mechanical hard drive. You can download this, burn it to a CD or copy it to a USB drive, and then boot your computer off it. Then it's just a case of selecting the right drive and starting the erasure program. Make sure you select the right drive though, because there's no undo option here. The process will take a long time. It's overwriting every piece of data on your drive several times to make sure that any remnants of old files are gone and there are no magnetic shadows to give away what used to be there. Once it's finished, you've got a blank drive that you can format and reuse. If you want to go belts and braces on this, you can always erase the drive with dban and then destroy it, which is actually what I did with this one. What you should absolutely not do though is use dban on a solid state drive. They work entirely differently. A solid state drive doesn't have any platters and it doesn't use magnetism. It stores data in flash memory chips. That means you need to treat it differently. If you want to physically destroy it, you need to destroy the chips themselves. You don't need to do this for a mechanical drive because the chips on a mechanical drive are just for controlling the drive's functions. They can be replaced without affecting your data. With a solid-state drive, the data lives in the chips, so those need to be the target of your aggression. Erasure is different too. Flash memory can only handle a finite number of writes before it degrades and stops working. To prevent drives from wearing out prematurely, the controller in the drive spreads data writes evenly across different parts of the drive. This poses two problems for a tool like dban. If dban tells the drive to overwrite the same piece of data 3 times, that's not actually going to happen, because the controller is going to redirect those writes to 3 different parts of the drive in order to spread out the wear and tear. The other problem is that because dban relies on overwriting the entire drive multiple times, it's going to reduce the lifespan of a solid-state drive, so you end up wearing out your drive and not necessarily erasing all of the data as well as you might have thought. There are paid tools that can securely erase solid-state drives, but the manufacturers of these drives usually have a tool you can download and use for free. These will trigger a secure erasure process that's built into the drive itself. What these actually do will depend on the drive. Some of them wipe the drive by applying a voltage to all of the flash cells. Some of the drives internally encrypt all of the data they store. This isn't a security measure because they also decrypt it again before passing it back to you. What it does mean though, is the drive can simply throw away its encryption key and generate a new one, and all of the previously stored data is unreadable. Speaking of encryption, you can largely sidestep this whole problem entirely by encrypting your drives in the first place. If your drive is encrypted, then all you really need to do is throw away the encryption key and the data is gobbledygook. It's not a bad idea to destroy or erase the drive anyway, but it's not critical. I would advise you always encrypt your drives if you have the opportunity, because if your computer gets stolen, the thief is unlikely to offer you the opportunity to carry out a secure wipe first. Finally, if this is something you need to do at a large scale, then you should look at more industrial options. Huge data centers like Amazon's do not destroy drives with a hammer or dban. They have industrial shredding machines that will tear the drives to tiny pieces. If you're not Amazon, but you do have a company full of drives to dispose of, then it's probably worth outsourcing the problem to a third party who'll take care of it for you. Let them chuck the drives into their shredder rather than waste the next few months of your time hitting things with a hammer. Degaussers used to be something of a popular middle ground when you had fewer drives that would warrant a shredder, but too many to hit with a hammer. A degausser basically acts as a really powerful magnet that effectively wipes a mechanical drive. It does render them unusable as well because it wipes everything, including some code needed for the drive to function. Degaussers are not effective for solid-state drives though, because solid-state drives don't use magnetism to store their data. Bear that in mind before you go and buy one. You're going to need another solution for your solid-state drives anyway. That's all for this video. Remember to never dispose of a computer without first rendering its data unreadable. And if you can, you should make a point to encrypt it in the first place. I hope you found this video useful, give it a like if you did, and consider checking out one of my other videos over here. Don't forget to subscribe either. I'll be putting out more videos in the future, and if you're still here now, you'll probably want to see those too. Thanks for watching guys, see you next time.